Paltrocast.
John, thank you for taking the time. There's so much to ask you because your credits are fantastic as an A&R person, as a person who manages states, the Jayhawks, et cetera, et cetera. But let's keep the focus of this one on the Bon Scott estate, the tribute show, et cetera. Now, how did you get involved in Team Bon Scott?
I started working with the AC/DC catalog when it came over to Sony in 2003. And that required a lot of deep immersion in the history of the band, and we ended up doing, all the albums as CD and vinyl reissues.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I ended up working on several like DVD products like Live at Donington, Family Jewels, Plug Me In. Ended up doing the Backtracks box set, which looks like a guitar amp and actually is a guitar amp. You can plug it in and play it. So worked with the band for about, I don't know, almost 15, 16 years, something like that. And then from there, they were busy doing Black Ice and then Rock or Bust and world tours and all kinds of fun stuff. So they weren't uh, focusing on the catalog as much. And then I ended up leaving Sony in about 2021
Mm-hmm.
during COVID, started my own business, and Bond's family, who I had known sort of peripherally in doing all the band stuff, reached out through their attorney and said, "Hey, we're starting our estate company thing. We need somebody to do the creative part of it. Can you do that?" And I was like, "Sure, absolutely. That'd be awesome." So we
Wow.
started with a merchandise line, a web store, a website, which they didn't have, all the social handles. Really from the ground up, we've been building this presence, and just trying to celebrate him for him. Obviously the band is out being the band, but really to make sure people don't forget who he was, and in fraternity and Valentine's and as a kid, and just the whole life story, so that we remember him 10, 20, 50 years from now, and not just sort of forget about him.
Right. When it comes to legacy management, I think you and I could read minds and go, the best legacy management, the worst legacy management. An example of the best one is the Doors and Hendrix are still putting out unreleased material 50 years later after passing. In the case of Bon and AC/DC, the most tight-lipped camps in rock history, arguably, it's them and Van Halen as to
Hmm.
who's got the
Hmm.
tighter lips. Is there unreleased stuff from Bon that we haven't seen?
I mean, as far as I know, studio wise, no. They even were, so broke in the beginning, they were like taping over
Oh,
takes of songs until they had the one that they wanted. So as far as unreleased, music, I don't believe so. There's always, shows that
mm-hmm.
have been bootlegged to death, which, we would hope could get revisited at some point. Especially ones that have been, you can on Amazon find bootleg CDs and LPs of these things. So to legitimize some of that stuff and have some fresh material would be great at some point. But obviously it's all under the band business, and they, like you said, tight-lipped, tight ship. So, we're doing what we can to really focus on him as a person, as a lyricist, as a character. And to your point, the way that Jim Morrison is looked at, the way that Hendrix is looked at. We look at people like even Cliff Burton,
Mm-hmm.
Randy Rhoads, these characters who are so mythologized and died way too soon, and people are fascinated with them, and should continue to be.
Right. Well, I do work, not that this is the Darren interview, but I do work and regularly speak with David Krebs, who with
Oh
Lieber
yeah.
Krebs was original co-management of AC/DC and all that. And he has very fond things to say about Bond. And there was a book written by Jesse Fink, which David was interviewed for, where it was kind of rumored slash revealed, not to throw shade at AC/DC, that Bond wrote a lot of lyrics, if not all the lyrics, on Back in Black. Do you have any opinions on that? Or next question, please.
Next question, please.
But the key is Bond's estate is on great terms with AC/DC, and the working relationship continues, correct?
Absolutely, 100%. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Angus still has great memories and admiration for Bond, and Jesse, is misguided in a lot of his theories
Got it.
and that sort of thing. So we just sort of stay away from him.
Well, that tying in before we talk about the tribute show here, that is a commonality with Van Halen and AC/DC, not just in being tight-lipped, but anytime that the journalist is wrong, they don't even take the time to correct it.
No, because there's no point. It's just it's not worth fighting over when someone is just not right.
Well said. So this tribute show, the way that I see it, it could grow into an experience Hendrix kind of thing because when you think about the number of musicians who were inspired by Bon and AC/DC in any city, you could simultaneously have that same exact show going on in New York, LA. It could be Bon Scott Day. Are you thinking that far ahead, or is this just a one-off in New York?
Well, so this is our first year of, doing a sort of an authorized official estate, stamped concert. A lot of other people have done them in the past, some to great effect, some to bad effect. So, part of what we're doing is kind of taking it on ourselves to manage quality control and manage messaging and, just sort of who can do it and who can't do it. So that's kind of first and foremost. The second is, we are starting from nothing. So we've decided to do it at just like a tiny rock club in New York City, Lower East Side, very similar to an experience if you had been at the CBGB show that the band did in '77. That's sort of how we're positioned or thinking about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully year on year we can continue to celebrate him. Like I said, the band is out there doing their thing. They'll probably, if they decided to play New York, it would be Giant Stadium and not Arlene's Grocery.
Yeah.
So, there is still an opportunity to go see the real thing. But 5, 10, 15 years from now, you never know what's going to happen. So the idea of being involved in it rather than just sort of letting it occur is very attractive to the family. In a similar way to, I've been involved in a lot of Elvis Presley projects.
Sure.
And, after he passed, or even before he passed away, there were a lot of what they called Elvis impersonators. And about 20, 25 years ago, the estate decided to, instead of trying to fight them, they embraced them and sort of took the best ones and made them Elvis tribute artists. And you needed to have a license and you needed to,
Right.
be great and sing well and dress properly and all of this stuff. And you could have a license to be one, which then got you great gigs and, opportunities. So the idea of the fat guy with the, horrible wig being an Elvis impersonator has kind of gone away. So,
Yes.
there's the you can fight it, you can accept it, we're accepting it and sort of starting from scratch this year.
The wife and I, for the record, were married by a Michael Jackson impersonator who's then interrupted by an Elvis impersonator. And he was one
Amazing.
of the trim kind of ones.
Where did that happen?
Oh, Vegas, of course.
Of course. There you go.
Of course. I do have an Elvis question or two, but back to the Bon Scott thing.
Mhm.
You were in the house band, correct?
I am. I'll be performing the role of Malcolm in the house band. My friend Paul McGilloway, who's playing Angus, is amazing and does Angus really well when he covers those songs. So he was in immediately, and we've gotten a amazing cast of other characters who will be singing and playing and performing and everything. So I'm really looking forward to it.
For the people unable to attend, will there be video shot that may eventually be seen at the show?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're doing the we're shooting for Bond's YouTube channel and social
Oh,
media and stuff. I don't know if it will be the whole show or just some of the songs, but yeah, there will be some. You should come to the show. We'd love to have you as a guest, of course.
thank you.
Um, but yeah, and shooting pictures, and part of it is to actually do it, but then the other part is to capture it and make sure that it's um everyone knows that it was great.
Well, the diversity of the performers is very intriguing. Lena Hall, how did that
Hmm.
happen? Because I would never go, yes, that Tony Award winning Lena Hall, AC/DC fan, Bon Scott era preferably.
Well, if you look at the list, it's actually surprising how many women kind of came forward and said, "Oh, I love Bon Scott. I would love to sing his songs." And everybody, with almost without exception, had their own song, and there wasn't like fighting over who does gets to do Highway to Hell or Long Way to the Top. But everyone was like, no, 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 I like Let There Be Rock or The Jack or whatever. So yeah, we've got Lena Hall, who is a Tony Award winner. Uh, you know, Someone who was a Phantom of the Opera on Broadway, a guy who's the singer in Trans-Siberian Orchestra,
Mhm.
several people who have their own terrific bands and careers and everything in New York. So we're super blessed to have, nobody said no. Nobody said, they wanted to fight over a song. So it was really like a kind of an easy thing to get people to sign up to do this.
Before I ask the last two questions there, I mean, you just said TSO, Trans Siberian Orchestra, originally managed by David Krebs, who co managed AC/DC. So the small world nature of Lieber Krebs and AC/DC. But I said I'd had an Elvis question for you. You talked about impersonators. And as a person who knows more about Elvis than just about anyone, I said that about you. You didn't say that about yourself. I'm wondering if there's footage that exists of Jay Leno doing his Elvis impression, because supposedly it was one of Elvis's favorites.
I want to say that I have seen that. Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's definitely Andy Kaufman's, which Elvis saw and I think liked, from Saturday Night Live, and elsewhere. Uh, but I can't. I think I've seen the Jay Leno one. I'm fairly
Do you
certain.
remember, was it good?
Oh
I
yeah,
never
of
went to
course.
YouTube
Yeah.
and thought to put it in.
Yeah, Jay, I mean Jay's great, so it wouldn't be bad, I can tell you that.
Got it. And the last question for you: what else is coming up for you besides this great Bond family estate approved event? Because your name is attached to a lot of great musicians, and of course, you should promote it.
Well, the company that I started about 3 years ago, I do, sort of all kinds of services for, artists and estates with the eye towards, you have stuff, you have a story, people want it, people need to know it. So what do we do? And it used to be, that the catalog labels, before streaming really took over, would, embrace storytelling via box sets and album reissues and stuff like that. So it was a very easy um, train of getting that stuff out there. And now,
Mhm.
that's blown up, as the physical market has basically gone away.
Yeah.
The whole streaming business is getting people to re-listen to songs that they already like, which is great. So Highway to Hell will always be, front and center in everyone's minds. Um, but there are still lots of avenues, especially things like YouTube, social media. I mean, YouTube is the world's biggest website, and every artist has a channel on there.
Right.
Um, and there's a lot of bootleg stuff, that people are just finding and putting up there. So, it's helping artists manage everything from the archiving and digitization all the way through to like the fan engagement, via social media, press releases, websites, all of that kind of stuff. Um, so that the story is constantly told, and not the interest level doesn't go down over time. It only goes up over
Right.
time. So, you know, right now I'm working with like Billy Joel as his archivist. I'm working on a label that's owned by Roseanne Cash and her husband John Leventhal, to do her reissues, and we just put out his first ever solo album. So you know, it's a lot of different things that people need assistance with, and we're here to help them.
So, paraphrasing, John Jackson's keeping busy. He's not pigeonholed to a particular genre, and he's still a musician in his own right.
Correct. Yeah, I just, you know, I produced I just got finished producing a great record with one of our singers who will be performing, a woman named Emily Duff.
Mhm.
Uh, and you know, just all kinds of playing gigs, trying to do as much as I possibly can while having a 4 and a 2-year-old as well.
So, no sleep for John Jackson. Well, thank you for the information. Thank you for your contributions to the music industry and classic arts, and really look forward to what's to come, whether you're the featured artist or you're helping the featured artist.
Well, thank you very much, Darren. And I really do would love to see you at the show.
Paltrocast.